All right, guys, welcome back. Hope you're having a good weekend, and thanks for tuning in to Sweet Tea with Don B. Oh, we got a lot to talk about today. Got a lot to talk about today. All right, guys. If you haven't already, pull up a chair, and let's get into some thought-provoking conversation here. So, as I'm watching and listening to everything going on in the Sebastian Rogers case here, especially everything going on with Chris Proudfoot, Katie Proudfoot, Seth, law enforcement. There's just a bunch of stuff to talk about. Now I figured I'd try to fit it all into this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is I've noticed that people have been talking about some scratches or what looks like maybe a bite mark on Chris's arm. Before I go any further, everything in this video is just my opinion, and my opinion only, and it's just pure speculation because nobody really has all the information except for law enforcement. So, that being said, scratches on Chris's arm, or maybe a supposed bite mark. I don't know if anybody has addressed that with Chris yet, but in case Chris and Katie are responsible for what happens to Sebastian, and Sebastian, something bad happened to him, by the hands of Chris. I'm pretty sure that if Sebastian left scratches or a bite mark on Chris, I'm sure Chris would be probably smart enough to wash it real good and get all the DNA off of it, because Sebastian would have left some DNA behind on Chris if those are scratch or bite marks. But I'm pretty sure Chris is probably smart enough to wash it and scrub it real good. So there goes your DNA. Lord, you could even spray a little bit of bathroom cleaner on your arm. Well, the bathroom cleaner with bleach, and there goes the DNA. So there's that. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that the scratches and bite mark on Chris's arm, or allegedly a scratch mark and bite mark on Chris's arm, do you think that was from Sebastian? Because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about that. So let me know what your thoughts are. And again, I've not heard Chris come out, and I've not heard anybody come out and ask Chris about that. So that would be something. There's a lot of people that talk to this family, a lot of other YouTubers. So we'll just leave that up to them to maybe ask Chris about. Alibis. Let's talk about alibis. Because Seth, the sentiment towards Seth has kind of taken a turn, I've noticed. 2 weeks ago, everybody was, pro Seth. And now it just seems there's some, since Seth has taken a polygraph for Nancy Grace, it has really kind of seeded the garden for speculation, if you will, because supposedly Seth fell asleep during a polygraph, and this apparently was a polygraph arranged by Nancy Grace. So and my whole theory is behind everything, if anybody's going to give a polygraph that holds water, that holds some weight, TBI is going to have to do it. You know, you're going to have people officially investigating the case do these polygraphs if you want them to hold any water. I know they're not admissible in court, but I would rather have, you know, a detective or TBI find deception with kids, you know, Chris, Katie, or Seth, than, you know, some dude that's been retired for 20 years and, you know, ain't had a polygraph certification in 10 years. So, you know, that's how I feel about the polygraphs. Again, I firmly stand on the polygraphs only being given by current law enforcement that have current licenses to give the polygraphs. So that's how I feel about that. Because if you don't, here we are. Speculation out the wazoo. Chris fell asleep at the polygraph. Or no, Seth fell asleep at the polygraph. All of a sudden, YouTube blows up. Seth fell asleep on the polygraph. Is he guilty now? You know, I mean, I seen this coming. You know, when I heard Seth took a polygraph from Nancy Gray, I thought, oh my God, this is just here goes the circus again. Something's going to happen. And sure enough, supposedly Seth fell asleep during the polygraph, and now YouTube is blowed up, you know, and it's caused the sentiment towards Seth to change now too. So, now let me talk about the sentiment shifting on Seth, okay? There's one thing you need to understand when it comes to Seth. If you have any questions on Seth and his involvement in Sebastian's disappearance, just remember Sebastian went missing on Katie's watch. Not Seth's watch, on Katie's watch. Okay? Not saying, you know, Seth is 100% innocent here. Nobody's been cleared. And, you know, that kind of frustrates me, because ever since Moscow, Idaho come out and said that, you know, the food truck guy, they don't suspect the food truck guy, they don't suspect the roommates, they don't suspect Jack D. They came out with a list of people that they do not suspect was involved in, you know, in those homicides in Idaho, Idaho 4 college students. Ever since then, I really wished in these investigations, I really wished police would do the same thing and be a little bit more transparent to help with speculation. If anything, just to help with speculation, you know, guys. Because as soon as Moscow police come out and said, hey, we don't suspect the food truck guy, we don't suspect Jack D, we don't suspect the roommates, boy, the speculation on YouTube just, I mean, it flatlined. You know what I mean? So, that's one thing I wished. I wish the police would be a little bit more transparent. And the other thing too is, you know, when you're talking about, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, everybody's kind of going hard at Katie and Chris. Well, I can kind of understand. And Katie, everybody that says, you know, hey, everybody's kind of going hard at Katie and Chris, and Katie and Chris are probably thinking, man, people are coming at us kind of hard and, you know, unfairly judging us. You got to stop and think, you know, from the get-go, you really didn't handle this. I'm telling you guys, in these cases, it needs to be handled another way instead of giving all these interviews and stuff like that. I mean, if you don't want people to be looking at you under a microscope, okay? Chris and Katie. I'm addressing Chris and Katie right here. And again, Chris, Katie, if you guys want to email me, or anybody wants to email me, you can email me at donbtruecrime@gmail.com. I'll be glad to talk with you. But again, you've got to stop and think. With all the, the interviews that you've done, all the suspicious, I guess, statements that you've made, all the suspicious allegations that have come up against you guys during these interviews. And mind you, if you hadn't done these interviews, you wouldn't have had to answer to these allegations and put you on a spot and people pick it apart. And, if you feel like they're probably twisting your words or whatever, you wouldn't have had to went through all that. So, with addressing Katie and Chris on why people are unfairly looking at them, judging them, whatever, I mean, you kind of done it to yourself. In my opinion, you didn't handle it great from the get-go. Okay. And a lot of people are saying, here's one example, okay, guys. A lot of people are saying Chris and Katie cannot go look for Sebastian, but have all the time to go eat at Cracker Barrel while everybody else is out there searching for him. That's just one example, guys. It's just one example. You know what I mean? And a lot of people that are speculating, did Chris do anything to Sebastian? Did Katie and Chris plan this? Did Chris, take Sebastian off? Could Sebastian, and just, as far as the search goes, this is addressing the search. In my opinion, if Chris took Sebastian off, guys, and Chris works in Memphis, I mean, hell, Sebastian could be anywhere between Hendersonville and Memphis, right? We even have the Mississippi River out there. Just something to think about. For you guys that, maybe think, because that's, I've been seeing that out there too. Chris could have, he had time to come back home, grab Sebastian and take him off, you know what I mean? Or dispose of his body, whatever, yada, yada. That's been floating around. So I figured I'd address that. He could be anywhere between Hendersonville and Memphis, if that's the case, guys. And if that's the case, Lord, good luck finding him. What else are we going to talk about here? Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about the trash. Because, a lot's been said about the landfill search. Police went and got a search warrant on the landfill. I done a video about that. A lot of people are saying, well, someone said that the trash was unusually heavy that morning. So that's what I want to dig into. Who said? Because I've watched a bunch of videos. I've watched some YouTubers. I've watched like official news channels that covered the the searching of the landfill. I cannot find anything that states who said the trash was unusually heavy that morning when they picked it up. I cannot find anything. I cannot find an interview with a trash person who said, yeah, we picked up the trash and it was unusually heavy that morning. I've never seen an interview with a trash employee that was helping to throw trash in the back of the truck that morning. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody has interviewed the trash people that threw the trash in the back of the truck that morning. And again, were there people throwing trash in the back of the trash truck, or was it, a truck that has a mechanical arm on it that grabs the trash can, and raises it up and dumps it in the trash, in the truck and puts it back down? Was it one of those? Out of all the people to interview, a lot of people's been interviewed. I don't think I've seen one interview with one of the trash people that was there that evening or that morning and picked up the trash. So I'm really interested in that. So it was the trash was heavier that morning. Is that just rumor? Is it rumor or is it fact? If it's fact, who did it come from? Did it come from an employee? If it did, which employee did it come from? Would love to hear from them. That'd be a hell of an interview to get right there. If any YouTubers out there want to get an interview, if you could interview one of the employees that actually picked up that trash can and said it was unusually heavy, there's you a hell of an interview right there. And one of the other things that I want to address here is I've noticed that people are saying that, and this is in relation to everybody running their mouths, doing interviews like crazy, they're just channel hopping. And I was just like, it was getting to the point where I'm like, wow, there's starting to be a lot of mud being slung here on YouTube. And I mentioned that, maybe Chris and the police maybe had a little tiff, and the police sarcastically may have told Chris, hey, I wouldn't be doing any more interviews if I was you, bud. Just kind of being smart ass towards him, you know what I mean? And police are like, or everybody's like, no, police want them talking. They want them talking because, it'll solve the case. Really. Because when I stop and look back, and this may just be a thing in Tennessee. I don't know. This may just be, inadequate talent on investigators in Tennessee. I don't know. But 2.5 years in the Summer Wells case, you had Don and Candace and a lot of people around them that came out, especially just Don and Candace. Everybody's looking at Don and Candace in the Summer Wells case. Don and Candace, numerous interviews for 2.5 years. Where are we at in that case? Ain't nothing come of it. Just goes to show you that, just because police want them out there talking, which Don and Candace have been out there talking for 2.5 years, doesn't guarantee anything's going to come of it, So, Chris and Katie could be on here for 2.5 years talking, doing interviews, and could end up being just like the Summer Wells case with Don and Candace. Nothing. So I just kind of want to point that out there too. Just because police let them and want them to talk, doesn't actually mean the case is going to be solved and someone will be arrested. Because Don and Candace have been doing interviews and talking freely, and boy, there's been some circus type, content out there that Don and Candace have given us over the last 2.5 years. But still, hey, nobody's been arrested. Case hadn't been solved. According to the police, they still have nothing. They're still at square one in the Summer Wells case. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's what I got for you. So just to recap, you know, if you guys want to leave some comments, you know, leave some comments on what you think about the supposed scratches or the alleged, you know, I've seen them. I don't know if they're scratches or bite marks. I don't know. Chris would have to answer that. But I hope Chris can answer to, you know, the marks. I'm just going to say marks on his arms, on his arm. So comment on that. Do you think Sebastian done that? Let me know what you think about that. And comment on, you know, what do you think about Katie and Chris bringing a lot of bad attention to themselves? You know, I know they're feeling like, man, people are people are falsely accusing us, unjustly accusing us, this and that. Do you think that they helped that environment to bloom? Do you think they helped that to grow? I kind of do. I kind of do. Do you think, leave some comments, do you think Sebastian could be, you know, if Chris is involved, and that's just if, do you think Sebastian could be somewhere between Hendersonville and Memphis? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Let me know what your thoughts are on the trash being heavier that morning than usual. I'm really wanting to dig into that. Let me know your comments on that. I would love to find out exactly who said that. If that was even said or if it's just a rumor. You know what I mean? And then let me know your thoughts. Last, let me know your thoughts on, you know, people saying, well, I don't think police would tell Katie and Chris, you know, basically to shut up because they want them out there talking, doing interviews, because it'll help solve the case, possibly. You know, it'll, you know, put a nail in their coffin, if you will. It'll help if they're guilty, you know, this and that. Don and Candace been doing it for 2.5 years. And again, I don't know if it's law enforcement, lack of skills on their part, but Don and Candace have been doing it for 2.5 years. And ain't nothing come out of all their interviews, all their conversations, all their drama on YouTube. Nothing. Nothing's come out of it. So a lot of stuff to leave comments about, guys. So let me know what your thoughts are. You know what your thoughts are. Appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm going to go out here and do some yard work. So I'll see you guys. I won't be on tomorrow, but I'm going to try to do videos every other day. So if you guys that are just new to the channel, I'm going to jump on the schedule to where I do videos about every other day. So that way you know when to look for them. Okay. So anyway, guys, that's what I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. Drop those comments, and I'll try to answer as many as I can and conversate with you in the comment section. So I'll see you guys day after tomorrow.